We have to create money for the people, not for banks. You might have heard this sentence a few times, but let's think about it first. Who is the main beneficiary of quantitative easing? Governments. Governments finance themselves at the lowest rates ever, with yields that are significantly below the levels that reflect their true availability and capability of payment and solvency. But more importantly, the vast majority of what central banks purchase are sovereign bonds. The main beneficiary is not banks, is government. But banks suffer from quantitative easing. Why? Very low interest rates and massive liquidity generate a weakening of net income margin, a weakening of return on tangible assets, and an increase in risk because they lend at lower interest rates despite the increase in risk. Therefore, no, we have seen that the impact on banks is huge. But let's think about this thing about creating money for the people. Okay, first, it's not creating money for the people, it's creating money for government. Not the same. Increasing massively money supply to finance government spending, like in Argentina or in Venezuela, is a massive expropriation of wealth of the productive economy. Let's think about why. First, you increase the size of government massively, and the crowding out effect is enormous because government benefits as the first recipient of money, finances itself at extremely low or no rates at all, and passes, and the rest of the productive economy is suffering from the increase in inflation and also suffering from the increase in taxes, because you increase the size of government by massively financing the deficit and the spending with monetary policy, and at the same time, when inflation creeps up, then what do? In order to take away the excess money out of the economy, they tax it away. Tax it away means that you increase the size of government on the way in and you increase the size of government on the way out. You tax the productive sector, the private sector, from that excess of money, and you increase the size of government twice. You increase the size of government through massive increase in government spending and monetary financing, and second, by taking wealth and resources out of the productive economy through taxes. So the problem that you find is that the crowding out effect is enormous, that the productive sector suffers from the negatives of massive money creation and from the negatives of higher taxation and worse allocation of capital, and pays for all of the negatives, pays for all of the negative impacts of that policy. Therefore, let's not fall into the trap of what Argentina and other economies did with this so-called quantitative easing for the people, which is quantitative easing more for government.